The dark emptiness of space lit up with sudden flashes of blue light. Three sleek vessels, each the size of a small city, emerged from what looked like tears in the fabric of space itself. Their hulls gleamed with a metallic sheen that no Earth material could match. These were the scout ships of the Galactic Empire, and they had arrived with one purpose: to add another world to their vast collection of conquered planets. Deep within the Lunar Defense Station, alarms blared to life. Admiral James Walker rushed to the command center, his boots clicking against the metal floor. The space station's windows offered a clear view of Earth, peaceful and blue, floating in the darkness of space. "Report," he ordered, his voice firm but controlled. "Three unknown vessels, sir," Lieutenant Rogers answered, his fingers dancing across the holographic display. "They just appeared past Mars' orbit. Nothing like we've ever seen before." Walker studied the readings. In his 20 years of service in the United Earth Defense Force, he had never seen ships of this size. But humanity wasn't defenseless. Far from it. Years of preparation for this very moment were about to pay off. "Alert all Earth defense stations. Bring our stealth satellites online, but keep them dormant. Let's see what they want first," Walker commanded. His calm demeanor helped steady the nerves of his younger crew members. The Imperial ships moved with impossible grace for their size, covering the distance between Mars and Earth in mere hours. As they approached, a transmission burst through all communication channels, broadcasting in perfect English, a fact that made Walker's eyebrows rise with suspicion. A hologram materialized in the command center. The being that appeared looked almost human, except for the subtle metallic sheen to their skin and eyes that seemed to hold galaxies within them. "People of Earth," the figure spoke, its voice carrying an artificial perfection. "I am Imperial Delegate First Class. I bring greetings from the eternal Galactic Empire." Walker stepped forward. "This is Admiral James Walker of the United Earth Defense Force. State your purpose." The delegate's perfect smile never wavered. "We have come to offer Earth the greatest gift possible: integration into the Galactic Empire. Your world has been chosen. Resistance is unnecessary and historically futile. All civilizations eventually recognize the benefits of Imperial rule." The command center fell silent. Walker's mind raced through the defense protocols they had developed over decades of preparing for first contact. They had always known this day would come. Humanity had seen too many science fiction movies to be naive about first contact scenarios. "And if we decline this generous offer?" Walker asked, though he already knew the answer. The delegate's smile turned cold. "Admiral Walker, you misunderstand. This is not an offer. This is a notification. The Empire has existed for 50,000 of your years. We have incorporated 10,000 civilizations. None have successfully resisted. Prepare your world leaders for integration. You have 24 hours to surrender formally." Walker straightened his uniform and clasped his hands behind his back. His next words would go down in human history. "On behalf of Earth, we respectfully decline." The delegate's perfect facade cracked slightly. "You cannot decline." "Watch us," Walker replied, ending the transmission. The command center burst into activity. Walker activated the Global Defense Network with a series of quick commands. "Send word to all nations. Operation Steel Wall is now active. I want our orbital platforms ready but hidden. Alert the underwater bases and activate the planetary shield generators." As his orders were carried out, Walker watched the Imperial ships through the station's viewport. They hung in space like predators ready to strike, unaware that Earth had teeth of its own. Humanity had spent centuries fighting itself, perfecting the art of war in ways these empire builders couldn't imagine. They had prepared for this moment since humans first looked up at the stars and wondered if they were alone. "Sir," Lieutenant Rogers called out, "all nations report ready. The underground cities are being prepared. Our stealth fleet is in position." Walker nodded, a grim smile forming on his face. The Empire thought they were dealing with just another primitive civilization. They were about to learn why humans were different. Earth had no intention of becoming another star on their imperial flag. The next 24 hours would change the galaxy forever. The Imperial Command Ship's analysis chamber was filled with floating holographic displays showing Earth's history. The Empire's top military analyst, General Reed, stood frozen in disbelief as he studied the images of human warfare through the ages. "This cannot be correct," he muttered, his metallic eyes reflecting the glow of battle footage from Earth's world wars. No species fights their own kind with such creativity. Behind him, Commander Marcus Stone of Earth's Special Operations smiled in the shadows. The stealth suit he wore bent light around him, making him nearly invisible. The Empire's security was good, but they had never faced human infiltration techniques before. The general continued his analysis, unaware of the human observer. They adapted from swords to guns to nuclear weapons in less than 500 years. Most species take thousands of years to make such leaps. He waved his hand, bringing up more displays. And their entertainment. They spend time imagining wars with advanced aliens. They've been preparing for us without even knowing we exist. Stone carefully placed another tiny spy device under a console. His mission was almost complete. 20 other operatives were scattered throughout the Imperial fleet, gathering intelligence that would be crucial for Earth's defense. The general's assistant entered the chamber, its footsteps making a slight clicking sound on the metallic floor. "Sir, the Emperor demands an update on the Earth situation." Reed straightened his uniform. "Tell him these humans are different. They're not like the others we've conquered. Look at this." He pointed to a new display showing military bases around Earth. They maintain massive armies even in times of peace. They train for wars that aren't happening. Their entire history is an arms race with themselves. Stone listened carefully, recording everything through his advanced suits systems. The Empire was beginning to realize what they were dealing with, but they still didn't understand completely. "Our standard conquest protocol won't work here," Reed continued. "These humans have spread their military power across their entire planet. There's no single point we can strike to force surrender. They've built backup systems for their backup systems." The assistant processed this information. "Shall we recommend the Emperor send the primary fleet?" Reed shook his head. "No, we need the elite forces, all of them." He pulled up more displays. "Look at their response to natural disasters. They fight against their own planet and win. Their space program started with controlled explosions strapped to metal tubes. They're insane, but brilliant." Stone had heard enough. He carefully made his way toward the chamber's exit, but paused when Reed spoke again. "And their weapons." Reed zoomed in on Earth's orbital defense platforms. "They're not as advanced as ours, but they're built to last. Built to take punishment. Everything they make is designed to keep working even when damaged. It's like they expect everything to go wrong and plan for it." Stone smiled behind his stealth suit. The Empire was learning lesson one about humanity. Always expect the unexpected. As he navigated the Imperial ship's corridors, Stone's suit transmitted everything he'd gathered back to Earth through quantum channels the Empire couldn't detect. The information would help Earth's leaders prepare for what was coming. Back on Earth, Admiral Walker received Stone's transmission in the Lunar Command Center. He watched the Imperial General's assessment with grim satisfaction. "They're starting to understand," Walker told his staff, "but not fast enough." He turned to his tactical officer. "How many of our stealth operatives are still in place?" 19 out of 20, sir. All reporting successfully." Walker nodded. The Empire didn't know it yet, but their ships were already compromised. Humanity had spent decades developing ways to fight superior forces. Now those skills would be put to the test. "Send word to all commands," Walker ordered. "The Empire's going to hit us with everything they have." That's exactly what we wanted. Enable all the virus programs our operatives planted in their systems. Let's show them why you don't underestimate humans. As his orders went out, Walker looked at the Imperial ships through the command center's window. They were about to learn that humans didn't just fight wars. They revolutionized warfare every time they fought. The Empire had conquered 10,000 worlds, but they had never met anyone like humanity. The real battle was about to begin, and humanity was ready. The stars disappeared behind the massive Imperial fleet as it dropped out of hyperspace. 500 warships, each one bigger than the largest cities on Earth, filled the space between Mars and Jupiter. Their golden hulls gleamed in the distant sunlight, weapons already charged and ready. Lieutenant Anna Reed sat in her small stealth fighter, hidden among the asteroids of the belt. Her hands were steady on the controls as she watched the Imperial ships approach. "Look at them," she whispered to her squadron. "They're flying in perfect formation. No scattered patterns, no defensive spacing. They're not expecting a fight." Her wing commander responded through the radio. "They're expecting a surrender." Reed smiled. The Empire was about to learn its first lesson about fighting humans. On the lunar base, Admiral Walker watched the Imperial fleets approach. "They brought exactly what we thought they would," he said to his command staff. "Status of our orbital platforms. All platforms show green, sir. Stealth systems holding. They don't see any of our defenses." Walker nodded and pressed the button that would broadcast to all Earth forces. "All units, remember your training. Let them get nice and close. Operation Paper Tiger is now active." The Imperial fleet moved forward with perfect precision, their formation looking like a giant arrow pointed at Earth. Their command ship broadcast on all frequencies. "People of Earth, you have refused our generous offer. Now witness the power of the Eternal Empire." Walker waited until the fleet crossed the designated line. "Now," he ordered. Across the solar system, humanity's trap was sprung. The virus programs planted by Commander Stone's team activated. Suddenly, half of the Imperial ships lost power to their shields. Their perfect formation broke apart as ships tried to restore their defenses. "First wave. Attack," Reed commanded. 1,000 small fighters appeared from their hiding spots in the asteroid belt. They were smaller than the Imperial ship's escape pods, but each one carried weapons specifically designed to pierce Imperial armor. The Empire had never seen anything like it. Their massive ships tried to target the tiny fighters, but humans have been practicing dogfights for over a century. Reed's squadron dove through the gaps in their formation, launching missiles at the exact spots where Stone's intelligence said the ships would be weakest. "Keep them confused," Walker ordered from Lunar Command. "Orbital platforms, reveal, and fire." Earth's orbital defense network uncloaked. 300 platforms that the Empire hadn't detected powered up their main guns. They had been built using plans stolen from the Empire's own databases, modified by human engineers to be more effective. The Imperial fleet was caught in a crossfire. Fighters attacked from the rear, while orbital platforms struck from the front. Their perfect formation had become a perfect target. "Our weapons are working," Reed shouted as she watched Imperial ships exploding. "They never thought we'd be able to copy their technology so fast." The Imperial commander's voice boomed across space again, but this time it showed fear. "This is impossible. Your species was supposed to be primitive." Walker responded to the transmission. "You made 3 mistakes. First, you thought we weren't ready. Second, you thought we'd surrender. Third, you thought humans would fight fair." The battle raged for hours. Imperial ships that had never lost a battle found themselves being taken apart by fighters they could barely see. Every time they adapted to one human tactic, Earth forces would switch to another. Reed led her squadron through another attack run. Their breaking formation pushed them back toward the outer system. The Imperial fleet began to retreat, something they hadn't done in thousands of years. More than half their ships were destroyed or disabled. The others were damaged and trying to escape. In Lunar Command, Walker watched the enemy flee. "Let them run," he ordered. "Let them tell the Empire what happened here." As the surviving Imperial ships disappeared into hyperspace, Reed flew her squadron back to base. "Command, this is Shadow Lead. First wave defeated. Earth's sky is clear." Walker looked at the battle data coming in. The Empire had lost 300 ships. Earth had lost some fighters and platforms, but their main defenses were intact. More importantly, humanity had shown the Empire something they had never seen before: defeat. "Good work, everyone," Walker broadcast to all forces. "But stay alert. This was just their first wave. The Empire won't take this loss lightly. They'll be back, and next time they'll be angry." Earth had won its first space battle. The real war was just beginning. Dr. Robert Wilson stood in his underground laboratory, surrounded by pieces of Imperial technology salvaged from the recent battle. Holographic displays showed the complex patterns of Imperial shield frequencies, while captured engine parts floated in analysis chambers. The lab, built deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, hummed with activity as scientists from every nation worked together. "Look at this," he said to Admiral Walker, who had come down from Lunar Command to see their progress. Wilson pointed to a partially disassembled Imperial shield generator. "Their technology isn't actually more advanced than ours. It's just different. They stopped innovating centuries ago." Walker walked around the generator, studying it carefully. "Can we use this?" Wilson smiled and pressed a button on his tablet. A small dome of energy appeared around them, shimmering with a blue light. "We already are, but we've made it better." In another part of the lab, teams of engineers were rebuilding captured Imperial weapons. They had taken them apart, learned how they worked, and were putting them back together with human improvements. Where the Empire built for perfection, humans built for reliability. Where Imperial designs focused on power, human modifications focused on adaptability. The Empire has been using the same shield frequencies for thousands of years, Wilson explained, walking Walker through the lab. "They never changed them because no one ever broke through them. But we found a pattern." He brought up a new display showing waves of energy. "Their shields oscillate in predictable ways. We can hit them exactly when they're weakest." Walker watched as Wilson demonstrated their discovery using a captured Imperial shield. The human-modified weapons pierced it easily when fired at precisely the right moment. "That's not all," Wilson continued, leading Walker to another section of the lab. Here, massive engines from destroyed Imperial ships were being studied. "Their faster-than-light drives are amazing, but they're wasteful. We've redesigned them to be 30% more efficient. The Empire builds everything to be perfect under ideal conditions. We're building them to work even when everything goes wrong." As they talked, an alarm sounded from Walker's communicator. "Imperial transmission intercepted," the voice reported. "They're calling for their elite fleet. Estimated arrival time: 48 hours. Wilson didn't look worried. Instead, he seemed excited. "Perfect. That gives us time to show you our biggest breakthrough." He led Walker to a heavily secured area of the lab. Inside was something that made even the Admiral pause. "Is that what I think it is?" Walker asked. "Yes." Wilson nodded. "We'd reversed engineered their entire sensor system, but we've added our own twist." He activated the device, and suddenly the room was filled with a detailed map of nearby space. Their original design could detect ships by their engine signatures. Our version can detect their shield frequencies too. We can see them coming even when they think they're hidden. Walker studied the display with growing satisfaction. The Empire thinks they're coming back with a superior force to crush us. They don't realize they're walking into a trap 48 hours in the making. Wilson agreed. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons. It's our ability to take something, understand it, and make it better. He showed Walker more modifications they'd made. Every piece of Imperial tech we captured has been improved. Their weapons are more accurate now. Their shields are stronger. Their engines are more efficient. We did in days what they haven't done in thousands of years. Because they got comfortable, Walker realized. They stopped needing to improve. Exactly. The Empire's greatest weakness is their belief in their own perfection. They haven't faced a real challenge in so long, they've forgotten how to adapt. Wilson brought up images of Earth's upgraded defense platforms. We're not just copying their technology, we're revolutionizing it. As Walker prepared to return to Lunar Command, he took one last look at the lab full of scientists and engineers working tirelessly to improve alien technology. The Empire had no idea what they were about to face. They thought they were coming back to crush a primitive civilization. Instead, they were about to face humanity at its most dangerous, challenged, creative, and innovating at incredible speed. The Empire's elite fleet was coming, but Earth would be ready with surprises they could never expect. The elite Imperial fleet emerged from hyperspace like a storm of metal and light. 1,000 ships, each larger and more powerful than those in the first wave, filled the space around Jupiter. At their center was the Imperial Dreadnought, a vessel the size of Earth's moon, commanded by Grand Admiral Thompson. "Look at this primitive world," Thompson said from his command throne, his cybernetically enhanced eyes focusing on the distant Earth. "They got lucky once. They will not get lucky again." But Earth was ready. Hidden sensors designed by Dr. Wilson tracked every Imperial ship. In the Lunar Command Center, Admiral Walker watched their formation with calm eyes. "They brought exactly what we expected," he said to his staff. "Is everyone in position?" "Yes, sir. Operation Thundershield is ready." The Imperial fleet moved forward with overwhelming force. Their weapons charged, creating an energy reading that lit up space itself. The Empire had never deployed such power against a single planet before. "Attention, Earth forces," Thompson's voice boomed across all channels. "Your resistance has forced us to take extreme measures. Surrender now, or we will reduce your civilization to ash." Walker pressed his command console. "This is Earth Command to all forces. Execute Thundershield." Suddenly, the space around Earth lit up. 300 defense platforms revealed themselves, but they were different now. Dr. Wilson's teams had upgraded them with improved Imperial technology. Each platform now carried weapons that could match the elite fleet. "Impossible," Thompson shouted as his sensors detected the platform's power levels. "They couldn't have mastered our technology so quickly." The battle began with a flash of light that would have blinded anyone watching from Earth. Imperial ships fired their main weapons, expecting to easily destroy Earth's defenses. Instead, their shots hit shields that had been specifically tuned to resist their attacks. "All units, attack pattern Delta," Walker commanded. Earth's defense platforms split into smaller groups, using formations that the Empire had never seen before. They didn't stay in fixed positions like Imperial stations. Instead, they moved and adapted, fighting like a swarm of angry bees. Thompson watched in growing horror as his first attack failed. "Launch all fighters. Target their command centers." But Earth had another surprise waiting. From hidden bases on Mars and the Moon, hundreds of human fighters launched. They were smaller than Imperial ships, but now carried weapons reverse-engineered from the first battle. Each fighter could target the exact weak points in Imperial shields. "They're everywhere," an Imperial commander shouted as human fighters darted between the larger ships. "Their attacks make no sense. There's no pattern." Walker smiled as he watched the battle unfold. The Empire fought like a perfect machine, every ship in its proper place. But humans fought like humans, unpredictable, creative, and absolutely refusing to follow the rules of proper space combat. The Imperial Dreadnought pushed forward, its massive weapons charging for a planet-killing shot. "If we can't have this world, no one will," Thompson declared. "Now, Dr. Wilson," Walker ordered. Hidden transmitters around the solar system activated. They'd broadcast the exact frequency needed to disrupt Imperial shield systems. Hundreds of elite ships suddenly found their perfect defenses failing. "This is impossible," Thompson raged as reports of failing ships flooded in. "We are the Empire. We cannot be defeated by primitives." But that's exactly what was happening. Human fighters struck from every direction. Defense platforms concentrated their fire on the largest Imperial ships. The Empire's perfect formation broke apart as they tried to deal with attacks coming from angles they had never defended against. The mighty Imperial dreadnought itself shuddered as human weapons found weak points that shouldn't have existed. Thompson watched in disbelief as his ship's power began to fail. "Fall back," he finally ordered. "All ships, retreat." The elite fleet, pride of the Empire, turned and fled. They left behind hundreds of destroyed or captured ships, their perfect record of victories shattered by a species they had called primitive. In Lunar Command, Walker watched them run. "Send word to all Earth forces," he ordered. "The Empire's best fleet has failed. But stay ready, because now they're going to get desperate." Earth had won again, but everyone knew the Empire would be back. They had never faced defeat like this in their entire history. Their next attack would be driven by rage and wounded pride, and that would make them even more dangerous. Major Tom Lewis stood on the bridge of Earth's newest warship, the Thunderchild. Built using captured Imperial technology and human innovation, it was humanity's first true deep space battleship. Around him, 50 similar vessels prepared for humanity's boldest move yet, Operation Thunderstrike. "All ships report ready, sir," his second-in-command reported. "Dr. Wilson's upgrades are functioning perfectly." Lewis nodded, watching as his fleet gathered near Jupiter. Each ship carried weapons and shields that combined the best of human and Imperial technology. But their greatest weapon was something the Empire would never expect: the willingness to try the impossible. "Send word to all ships," Lewis ordered. "The Empire thinks we can only defend. Let's show them how humans attack." In Lunar Command, Admiral Walker watched the fleet prepare. "Status of the Imperial capital defenses," he asked his intelligence officer. "Their home system is heavily guarded, sir, but they've never been attacked before. They don't expect anyone to dare." That was exactly what Earth was counting on. The Thunderchild and its sister ships activated their new jump drives, improved versions of Imperial technology that Dr. Wilson's team had made faster and more efficient. "All ships, jump," Lewis commanded. Space twisted around them as 50 Earth ships vanished from the solar system. They reappeared deep in Imperial territory, right on the edges of the Empire's home system. For the first time in 10,000 years, someone had brought war to the Empire's doorstep. "They're in chaos," Lewis's sensor officer reported with a grin. "Their defense grid isn't even fully powered up." The Imperial capital world was beautiful. A planet-wide city covered in golden towers and ancient monuments to the Empire's power. Its inhabitants had never imagined they might be attacked. Their defenses were designed to look impressive, not to actually fight. "Launch all fighters," Lewis ordered. "Target their command centers. Show them what happens when you threaten Earth." Earth's ships struck like lightning. They didn't target the population centers or try to destroy the planet. Instead, they went after military installations, government buildings, and defense platforms. Human fighters darted between the towering spires of the Imperial city, striking with surgical precision. The Empire's home fleet scrambled to respond, but they were too slow. They had grown comfortable in their power, forgetting the basic lessons of warfare that humans had never been allowed to forget. "Their ships are launching," an officer reported to Lewis. "But they're disorganized. They never planned for this." On the Imperial capital, panic spread through the halls of power. The supposedly invincible Empire was under attack by the very primitives they had tried to conquer. Their perfect order was shattered by human unpredictability. "Send the message," Lewis commanded as his ship struck another military target. All across the Imperial capital, screens lit up with Earth's transmission. "You came to our world expecting us to bow down. Instead, we showed you humanity's strength. This attack is a warning. Earth is not yours to take." The Imperial Palace itself shook as human ships disabled its defensive shields. The Emperor, who had ordered the attack on Earth, found himself hiding in a bunker while human fighters warred overhead. "Second phase," Lewis ordered. His ships launched special packages toward the planet. Not bombs, but data cores. They contained proof of how the Empire had been wrong about humanity, and about many other things. Information drops confirmed, his communications officer reported. The conquered species are receiving our message. That was the true purpose of Operation Thunderstrike, not just to hurt the Empire, but to show everyone in the galaxy that they could be beaten. Already, reports were coming in of uprisings on other worlds. The myth of Imperial invincibility had been shattered. All ships, prepare to jump home, Lewis ordered as the last targets were hit. Our message has been delivered. The Thunderchild and its fleet vanished again, leaving behind a changed galaxy. The Empire's capital was damaged but not destroyed. That had been intentional. Earth didn't want to destroy them, just to prove that they could. In 50 ships, humanity had done what no species had managed in 10,000 years. They had struck at the heart of the Empire and survived. Now everyone knew. The primitives from Earth weren't just good at defending their home. They could take the fight anywhere in the galaxy. The war's end was approaching, but not in the way the Empire had expected. The grand meeting hall of the Imperial Palace had never hosted anything like this before. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Emperor was forced to sit across from representatives of a species that had defeated them. Admiral Walker led the Earth delegation, with Dr. Wilson and Major Lewis at his side. "You understand what this means?" the Emperor asked, his perfect face unable to hide his shock. "No one has ever forced the Empire to negotiate, ever." Walker placed a simple document on the golden table between them. It was printed on paper, Earth paper. In a room full of advanced technology and holographic displays, this simple piece of paper held more power than any Imperial weapon. "These are our terms," Walker said calmly. "They're very simple. Earth and the entire solar system are off-limits to the Empire. Forever." The Emperor's advisors muttered among themselves. One of them stepped forward. "You can't expect us to just." "We don't expect," Lewis cut in. "We're telling you. You tried to conquer us. You failed. You sent your best fleet. We destroyed it. You thought your capital was safe. We proved it wasn't." Dr. Wilson opened his tablet, showing holographic displays of Earth's latest innovations. "We've improved your technology in ways you never thought possible. In a few months, we did what you haven't done in thousands of years." The Emperor stared at the displays, seeing Imperial technology transformed by human innovation. "How? You were supposed to be primitives." Walker smiled. "That was your first mistake. You judge species by how long they've had technology. We judge by what we do with it. Humanity doesn't just use technology. We make it better. We adapt. We improve." Around them, the Imperial Palace still showed damage from Operation Thunderstrike. But more importantly, screens throughout the palace showed news from across the galaxy. Other species, inspired by Earth's resistance, were demanding their freedom. The Empire's perfect order was crumbling. "Sign the declaration," Walker said, "or we'll prove again why you shouldn't have threatened Earth." The Emperor looked at the simple paper document. "And if we agree?" "Then we'll be neighbors," Walker replied. "Not enemies, not subjects. Neighbors. Earth will trade with you, share ideas with you, even help you if you need it. But we will never bow to you." Major Lewis added, "And we'll help you deal with the rebellions peacefully. Because if you try to crush them like you tried to crush us, we'll show them everything we learned about beating your forces." The Emperor was silent for a long moment. In just a few months, everything had changed. This primitive species had destroyed their best fleet, attacked their capital, improved their technology, and inspired revolution across the galaxy. Finally, he reached for the document. Perhaps the Empire has grown too comfortable in its power, too certain of its superiority. He signed his name below Earth's terms. "Let it be known that Earth and its solar system are recognized as independent and off-limits to Imperial forces." Walker accepted the signed declaration. "Thank you. You've made the right choice." As the Earth delegation prepared to leave, the Emperor asked one final question. "What would you have done if we had succeeded? If our first attack had conquered Earth?" Walker looked back at him. We had plans for that too. Humanity doesn't give up. Ever. If you had taken our cities, we would have fought from the mountains. If you had taken the mountains, we would have fought from the seas. If you had taken everything, we would have found a way to fight back even then. That's what your empire never understood about us. The Earth delegation departed, leaving behind an empire forever changed. Within a year, the Eternal Empire would become the Galactic Alliance, with Earth as one of its founding members. The age of imperial conquest was over. Back on Earth, Walker stood in the Lunar Command Center, looking at his home planet. The Declaration was displayed in the Earth Unity Museum now, a simple piece of paper that had changed the galaxy. Above it was written humanity's new motto, a warning to any future empire that might think Earth was an easy target. This is Earth. Don't tread on us.